This is the Q&A for November 2025, and it's also the community video for November 2025. And we have questions from our YouTube members as well here today as well for this too, along with patrons. And the first question is from Curious Space Cheese, who says, do you think there's a double standard between characters that are conventionally attractive versus other characters who aren't? As an A-race myself, I've noticed something online. Some online give a bigger benefit of the doubt to video game characters who are quote-unquote simp-worthy, myself not totally excluded, and give less thought to some who aren't. Do you think that it affects the marketing and could be a big reason why we don't get any adorably powerful little physically accurate grandpas and grannies to pull for in gacha games because it works well in non-gacha games? I think what you're saying is that you're saying that like some characters get more, some people won't even give a second chance to a character that they don't consider to be like conventionally cool or attractive or cute. And you said does it also affect the marketing? I'll say this 100%. It does 100% affect the marketing. I'm going to say it right now. Whilst I don't like to always look at games like that, it's the truth that when you're creating a character, in some cases for some games, you want them to, I don't think it's always attractiveness. I don't think it's that. I think in a lot of cases they want the character to, I guess in some ways, see, it's hard for me because the games I play, a lot of the characters have, they look cool, but also same thing too, the coolness makes sense. Their outfit makes sense, their weapons make sense, their and stuff like that too. It's just it kind of makes sense as well. And there's other games I play where it's very much the appearance are based on stories and who they are in the story, and you wouldn't judge them based on their appearance in that sense either. It's just based on who they are personality wise. In terms of marketing, it does affect some games. Some games will design a character to look as cool as possible, but I don't think it's always based on just how pretty they are. Now, I think some companies will do that, where it's okay, how pretty can we make this character look so people will be oh my god, I want to wish for this character, hubba hubba, 100%. And then I also think the same thing too, a lot of companies don't do that. I think a lot of companies do stumble upon it. I think it's a double thing where it's my character looks really cool and looks really cute, but also at the same time too, I created them this way because it has a lot of personality aspects to their story. You know what I mean? A good example would be a lot of people find Eric really cute in Dragon Quest XI, but he wasn't designed just to be cute. His design is very much about his background as I don't want to give away his background, but there's something about his background. There's the wideness of his hair really matches his personality and stuff this too. His earring shows another aspect of his person. It's all the stuff that really is personality driven. But in a gacha game, I'd say this sometimes do I think marketing goes into everything. Marketing goes into absolutely everything. Now in terms of people's reactions, I can only say about my community, and I would say in my community, because I don't know the Genshin community outside of that and the Honkai community outside of that, I'd say in my community there is an aspect where people mostly, I would say that the top priorities for people when they're wishing on characters from what I've seen is moveset. Moveset is first, I think a lot of times. I'm not saying for everybody, I'm saying the majority of people I see will always be I had so much fun using this character, I want to wish on them. The second thing will be, I think a lot of times it's equal parts personality, equal parts appearance. And I don't think it's always just because, they're so handsome. I think sometimes it's I really love the design of this character and I want to wish on them. But a lot of times I do see a lot of this guy's going to be perfect for my team, that's why I have them on my team. And I think that's already cool. I can only speak on my community, but so the answer would be some people do that. Some people do give the benefit of the doubt in that situation. I would say I personally don't see it like that. If you've known, if anyone sees the games I play on the channel, we respect every character more no matter what. I think a lot of my community does that too personally. And I think that, you're never going to stop some people from thinking that way. And I want to say that too as well, by the way. I don't think that if any of you out there only wishes, and Curious Space Cheese, I don't think is saying this either. If you wish on a character that is or want to, get a character that is just because you think they're pretty, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just that from what I've seen, a lot of people go on moveset and then coolness and design and stuff like that as well, which I think is totally fair. It's totally fair to do that. That would be my perspective on this whole thing. Yeah, 100%. That would be my perspective. So that some people will, some people won't. It's definitely a part of marketing for some games and not a part of marketing for other games. I think it's just the way the world works. I hope that answered your question properly. If it didn't, I apologize. Novel Knight says, would you be interested in a game like The House of Fata Morgana or Higurashi? Both story-driven visual novel masterpieces. Here's the thing, I always think about these visual novel games that I could play, and a lot of times I think when it comes to them, I think that they're always really to me they're daunting, right? And it's not because they're bad, because I look at the idea of the House of Fata Morgana, and I actually saw the artwork for the cover of this, and it looks incredible. The artwork looks absolutely stunning for this game. And that's not anything that would ever drive me away from the game. It looks so cool. The artwork is beautiful. The Higurashi series as well, which I've seen a few times as well in Roma Reacts as well, is genuinely, I think it's what we've seen as well, right? I know there's a bunch of different things that are under that banner. Yeah, it's the When We Cry stuff, right? It's on the When We Cry stuff. But even that stuff too is also really, really cool and really dark and has so many cool themes as well. To me, it's one of those situations where I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, they're incredible. But it's always this is the way I'll put it. This is what I'll say, straight up. I think they look amazing. It's always I wonder how long they're going to be. And then if they're really long, the way I would look at it is would people really want to see that? So if anyone does want to see that, please let me know, because I'd be totally interested in doing, because I love visual novel games. And I know I play Ace Attorney, and that's kind of not as heavy as these other kind of visual novel games. But because the artwork is so good, it's three combinations. The artwork is so amazing. I love the artwork. And the stories are usually incredible too. They're so incredible. And then the music in these games are always freaking amazing as well, from what I've heard. So from my perspective, if all those three things come together, and the fourth thing is, and I know it just has to be this way, you guys are also interested in seeing this, that I think that what I could do is if all four of those things come together for a visual novel, and people are actually watching it and want to watch it and are there for the long haul for whatever it is, then it's a yes. Does that make sense? Where it's all those together, perfect, 100%. But if it's a situation, I guess with where I know some visual novels can be incredibly long, I think with the way I do Let's Plays, it wouldn't fit so well. So yeah, it's one of the, so I did say there's 5 things. There's 5 factors. The visual novel has to have great artwork, and we know these games do. They have to have great music. We know they do. I haven't heard the music for, in total to all the music, but I know the music I've heard from stuff is really amazing too. The story has to be good. I've heard 1,000,001 times that the stories for these visual novels are fantastic. You guys have to be interested in it. That goes without saying. And the last thing would be, if they're not too long, if we can get through them in a couple of months maybe, then I'd be totally okay with it, And I know it sounds kind of harsh to be oh, I can't play any long games. It's not just because I can't play any long games. It's just that I could play a long game if people are here for the long haul 100%. But if we're here 8 months after that, and people are oh, well, I've been watching this for 8 months and it's a bit, much now. You can kind of understand that reasoning I have there as well. So yeah, that's what I would say. Those 5 factors. If we get those 5 factors in place, I have no problem playing them, because again, I know how good these are. I'm totally aware. People have told me 1,000,001 times how amazing they are and how cool they are. So I have no problem saying that yes. It's a yes under all those conditions always. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's fine. I think that'll be fine, right? Yeah, because I look at these games, especially with the 2 you mentioned, from what I've seen from them, whether it be in Roma Reacts or other stuff too, gorgeous stuff. Really interesting, intriguing, sometimes scary stuff. So there's no issue for me wanting to play it. It just obviously comes down to some other factors there as well. Yeah. So thank you for asking this question. Also, Novel Night. The next question is from Zevi, and this is from Patreon. Zevi asks, Romer, hi. The videos you put out this month have been so nice to watch and catch up on. Thank you so much. I hope the second half of the month will give you plenty of energy and inspiration too. Awesome. Thank you for saying that. Genuinely, this has been a very energy-filled month. I'm very, very happy also with the stuff we've done as well. I hope I'm not too late, but do you listen to podcasts or audiobooks? Is there the genre talk shows you like to listen to? Oh boy. I do listen to some podcasts, but I don't listen to a lot. The Smosh podcast, of course. I love listening to Smosh podcast. I watch the Smosh podcast as well. I love the interaction between Shane and Amanda, even though Amanda isn't there right now. There's a mix between Angela was there before and Damien was there. But there's always very fun interactions, very funny as well, but it also feels very cozy at the same time too, which means you can relax as you're watching it, so that's perfect for me. The other one would be the Deadlock podcast. The Deadlock Wrestling podcast is a group of friends, Johnny, Pulse, and it's Johnny, Pulse, and Tony, and they're basically long life wrestling fans, and they talk about wrestling. They recap an old wrestling show, and they have a lot of fun doing it. So many viral, funny moments. One of the things that like you actually find as well, Xavier, and something you probably wouldn't even notice maybe about me is like, say, like in the Patreon, I will have a joke here or there where I'll say like, "Man, I hear ya," or I'll say something like, "Oh, that's like beast style," or "That's like, oh, hamburger style," or something like that too. That all comes from Deadlock. My vocabulary has changed because of Deadlock. Also, like as well, my friends actually said that my vocabulary changed from watching Smosh, because I will sometimes be like, whenever like someone says something that like kind of like makes us all downtrodden a little, like, "Oh, we can't do that because like, you know, this and this," I will say the quote, "Nevertheless, she persisted," all the time to keep us going. So yeah, Smosh and Deadlock. I'm trying to think of any other podcasts. I sometimes watch Min-Max, but I will say that like they have different tastes for me, and while that's like sometimes very healthy, like it's different whether like, you know, making fun of something you like, and it's like, oh, it's kind of hard because I kind of want you to give this a chance, so like it's kind of difficult, you know. And like I think I'm not trying to be like toot my own horn here, but one of the things that people like really say about like what they like when they watch the channel is that like they never feel like, you know, they're, depending on what they like of course, but they never feel like I'm ever gonna crap on the stuff they like, you know what I mean? Even if there's something I'm not like totally into, I always try to find something I like about it and stuff like that too. Because like, I think I really like getting interested in other stuff. And again, I'm not trying to say they shouldn't criticize or crap on the stuff that I like. I'm saying that like I also choose to be like, well, I don't want to hear them like talk about a game they haven't played just because they're looking for the outside. And again, they're great people, by the way, with great opinions on other stuff too. It's just I don't watch them as much, is what I'd say. I'm trying to think, is there any other podcasts or stuff I listen to? The Dead Meat podcast. I listened to Dead Meat podcast. I watched their Saw, the whole thing they did with Saw, which is really interesting as well. So yeah, those would be the podcasts I listen to, and I think the reason I like listening to them so much is just because they all have like great energy to them, great fun, and also I think that it really like I need as well. I know like maybe people don't see it this way. I like them to be like good people because, you know, no matter what, people say like, oh, well, like, you know, don't interject your like personal thing or like your personal feelings about stuff into like, but the problem is like, no matter what, even the people that say they don't get involved in that stuff and they don't inject their personal like morals into the stuff as well, the fact is they do that anyway. They pretend they don't, but they do that anyway with like subtle things. So like, if you're going to do subtle things, I like to be like, you know, okay, I agree with that. They're good people, you know, and I like that too. And those guys are good people for sure. So yeah, that would be my favorite podcast to listen to. Yeah. Hybernova says, what is your favorite side/background character trope? So like a trope, I would say that like there's something that always works for me, and that is the energetic, kind of like headstrong best bud, right? And I'm playing like Apollo Justice, right? Not Apollo Justice, I'm playing the Apollo Justice trilogy still, and I would say that like Athena is a perfect thing for the perfect ideal for that as well, because Athena is a character who is like so upbeat and so energetic. So there for you, will also like make fun of you, make crack jokes, and it's good to have them around. So the trope of like, you know, the Ryuji from Persona, the Yusuke, not that Yusuke is like an upbeat character. I think Yusuke can be kind of like very like, you know, story-wise it makes sense he's like this, but he's been very like, you know, down in the dumps sometimes as well, and very like, you know, flippant, but he still has that energy of like, you know, the you know, the very energetic side character that's like your best friend in those games as well. And I think that's like where I would put him in that way too. I'm trying to think of any other side character tropes. Side characters or background character tropes. That would be my favorite one, obviously, is the kind of like energetic best friend. I love, I don't know if this counts, but I love like mentor-mentee kind of like, you know, Phoenix Apollo type thing, or like that type of relationship. I love that type of stuff so much. So like the idea of like having someone older in their life that kind of like, you know, gives them like a very better perspective on life, or even someone like slightly older, like, you know, it's like, say like, in games you'll have like a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old, like who like gives them like advice and stuff like this too. I really like that too. I also love, the Love Lord, not that they're creepy, by the way, creepy, no, but I love the character who's like really in love with this other character. And it's one of those things where like everything they're doing is very cute. But the other character just isn't quite ready yet, you know, that type of thing. And they're like, you know, it's kind of like every time they're like, yeah, but he is kind of nice, you know, like stuff too. And I do kind of like him, you know. Not that that sounds like I'm saying like when they wear away at a girl. I'm not saying that, or wear away at a boy or a person. I'm saying that like, you know, the person that like they're just shy and they like that person too. And the other person is like always doing stuff that's like really cute, like, you know, trying to ask them out and stuff. I think it's always very cute and funny as well, and very adorable. And I feel like that was in like a few K-dramas I saw recently as well. I also like the side character aspect of and this is in a K-drama I saw recently as well called My Dearest Nemesis. I freaking love the two like characters who are on the side of the main love story who are like trying their best to like, fix the relationship from the outside of their relationship. I know, as you say, is that a common trope? I think it is. I think it's a common trope of like, we gotta make sure that everything's okay, and they're like hiding and like, skulking around the place. I love that too. Maybe that's just a K-drama trope, but I love that also. My least favorite side character trope: character who clearly is doing bad things all the time and nobody says a thing. I know you didn't ask for this, but I hate it so much. Like, I was watching, and again, it's a great show. There's a show called Happiness that is great. It's fantastic. But the one thing I always just like, there's this one dude in that show who is just clearly just doing stuff that's awful, and continuously, like, everyone's just like, yeah, just leave him, And it's like, no, like, get rid of this guy, But yeah, it's that's like the one, and it's only blemish on that show. I really like the show a lot. But yeah, it's like one of those things where I'm like, that's my least favorite trope. But yeah, I hope that answers the question. Candace Shields asks, what music, songs, / albums are in Romer's ultimate top 5? Any genre, any medium, could be soundtracks or even a TV jingle. This is gonna be off the top of my head, but what I would say is that like Virtual Angel, Artemis, definitely my top 5 favorite songs of all time. I'm gonna pick 5. I'm gonna pick 5 things, whether it be album or song, that is like my 5 favorites of music, and then it's not gonna be like top 5 or in order, but I'll pick them all together. So Virtual Angel, easily changed my freaking existence. Coheed and Cambria's Here We Are Juggernaut, and Coheed and Cambria's Feathers. Both those songs I can have and repeat at any point at any time of the day. Trying to think as well. I would say Trivium Shogun album. I know I'm picking albums now. Trivium Shogun album, absolutely incredible. Was always on my mind constantly, and it like was one of those times where it blew my mind as well. I'm trying to think of like a number 5 slot we could put in there as well in terms of music that I really like. I would say, legitimately, I would say something, and this might be like kind of like a nostalgia feeling in a way. But it's off the top of my head, a song that hits my heart so much is Bullet for Valentine, Hearts Burst into Fire. So I say it's those 5 things, and I know there's albums and songs, and it's kind of like jumbled up, but like I could do like a top 5 songs eventually, but that is kind of like I guess where I would put all that stuff. So, and like to kind of explain my feelings and all these, like Virtual Angel was a song that I heard for the first time back in February of this year. I think it was February or March. And like, it just made my love for like K-pop deeper. I was instantly just like, okay, this is like, I'm here. I'm so here right now. And it made me nearly cry when I heard it. And like, I still listen to it like, at least once every 2 days. Like, it's so incredible. And it's just like the vocals of that, the whole melody, the chanting, the vocals, the lyrics, all of it so together. It's just so perfect. It's a perfect song. In terms of like the Coheed and Cambria songs, which is like Here We Are, Juggernaut, and Feathers. Feathers is a very beautiful, soulful song that's also like, very sad at the same time too. Has some great lyrics. I think whenever I put it on, it has that great riff that opens up into that riff at the start, which is really cool. And then versus like, as well, the parts of the song that really feel like it's like, it feels like it's kind of like a broken love song in a way, where it feels like it is kind of like a love song, but it's also at the same time too, it's like explaining like, how somebody did something wrong, and how, passionately, like, people, lie and make mistakes and stuff like this too. And I feel like it goes into all like this really great lyrically. It's one of those things where like I don't think like I understood it even like on the first few run throughs, and I feel like even now if I read through it I'd be like, oh, what's this like about, because it is like a kind of like a more of a concept album, that whole album was, I think. But I think musically it's just such a beautiful song as well. And then with Here We Are, Juggernaut, it's a really powerful song. Claudio's voice in that album is really fantastic, and I feel like he like belts out these lyrics in the like one of the best lyrics I've ever heard in a song is this is not your playground, this is my heart. And I feel like the lyric of this is not your playground, this is my heart, like hits so hard, because obviously like it's not like I'm feeling exactly the way Claudio did, but I think everyone can kind of like understand that feeling of like, oh, someone is like playing around with you. And yeah, and it just like that one lyric always hits me so hard, and like it's just a really powerful song. The Shogun album was the first album that like I really laid down on my bed and listened to it as a teenager and put it on from start to finish, and I was like lost for like an hour. It was so beautiful, such an amazing album. And then lastly, I picked Hearts Burst into Fire by Bullet for My Valentine, because it's a song that like Bullet for My Valentine were a big part of my teenage years. I don't listen to them really that much now, but like it was one of those things where like at the time this was something that I could never forget, honestly, really. Really fantastic stuff. Thank you so much, Candace Shield. Candace Shield also sent in P1 Harmony Super Brain, which is also on repeat a lot of times too. But yeah, those would be the songs I really enjoy a lot. Malcolm O'Day says, here's a travel question. What's the furthest you've been from home? Can I turn this question around a bit, Malcolm? And please, if you're against this, like, let me know and I'll try and rectify it somehow. But I haven't actually been to many places. I haven't actually traveled that much. I'm actually like very much like a home bird. But there is like a road trip I took one time that took around 5 hours in a car. I know maybe like this is like, not the furthest from home, like technically miles, but I hope like you understand by the end of this why I'm saying this, because I actually like thought about this and I wanted to talk about this as well. Maybe you'll find it interesting. I took a road trip with my best friend where we just went to like another part of the country. And what's so amazing about this was that it was the first time I was never in my life in a car for 5 hours, ever. Because I used to get travel sick all the time. So yeah, I've never in a bus for more than 5 hours. I've never traveled 5 hours anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I've never been in a vehicle for 5 hours, no matter what the vehicle is. And when I was in this vehicle for the first time, it was like for 5 hours. Like, it's crazy to me, like how weird, like, and how beautiful it is, like, just getting to see everything as you're traveling by it. But like how like much closer me and my friend got in that like 5 hour period, and then the 5 hours back as well the next time when we came back. It was like almost like instantaneous, like not instantaneous, it was a gradual thing where we were already really close, but then over time it was like, oh my god, like, like we are like forced in a way to either talk about stuff or it's just gonna be quiet. So we're like talking about everything, I mean, you're in the car, like, it's off limits because what are you gonna do, duck and roll? It's not off limits completely, but like I found it to be such a beautiful time for me. It was something where like I would experience it again and again. And even like stuff like, and I know Americans are so used to road trips because America's so big, but like even like stopping for like fast food was like such an experience. You stop for fast food, you sit on the bonnet of the car, you eat some food, you travel a bit further. Oh, there's a coffee shop, so we get some stuff there. And I got some coffees there as well. You travel a bit further and you're looking at the locations like, oh, is there a shop nearby? I'll check like Google Maps. Like there's all this stuff that like, you're like these conversations along the way. We stopped at a pier, which had like all these boats and all this really pretty place. And I remember like, being like, this is like one of the most perfect places I've ever seen, even though it's like so close. And again, and to Americans, you're like 5 hours, what the hell are you talking about? But to an Irish person, this was like so amazing. Looking at these beautiful landscapes and looking at the beautiful ocean and the sea, it was like a really fantastic experience. And I can only just like say like that. And I hope this is the okay answer as well, Malcolm, because I wanted it to be like, when I thought of this, I was like, that's like the most meaningful thing to me. That time where I went on a road trip for the first time, that time when I felt this experience of like, getting the food, chatting all on the way up, getting closer to my friend. By the end of that road trip, like, I feel like we were so in sync. You know what I mean? And I think it's like, some people might say, well, Calvin, like, you're lucky, because I've heard road trip stories where people are like, I hated my sibling by the end of it. But I think it's just because it was only the two of us that worked out, right? So like, and here's the thing, maybe like if you interviewed her, she'd be like, that was the worst time of my life. But for me, like, I still think about it so fondly, this like road trip, and the furthest I'd ever traveled anywhere, the furthest I'd ever, like, not obviously in terms of like miles, but in terms of time and like the time it would take to get back and stuff like this to it. Like, it felt like really like, because even like, with the way Europe is, even if I traveled to like, say, Spain and drove up to like an airport or something like that, it literally would take less time than doing that road trip, which is crazy. I could in the time I did that road trip, I could travel back and forth from Spain, which I think is incredible. In the times you do a road trip, I could literally travel back and forth. If the plane just never stopped for hours, it just kept going back and forth, I would travel back and forth I could go to England, back to Ireland, to England, back to Ireland, to England. I could make 5 trips on the plane, which is crazy if you think about it. And that's why I think that road trip is so important to me, because it was such a long distance, such a long time. I think about it so fondly. I'd love to do it again sometime. Actually, I'll probably get my answer if I ever like text her again. I'm like, hey, do you want to go to road trip again? She's like, I'm good. We'll get the answer. I hope there was an okay answer, Malcolm. I hope it was. Victoria asks, what's your favorite aspect of doing YouTube? Is it recording, editing, comments, or something else? I would say that like editing is my least favorite part of it. Even though like it's become second nature, the worst thing to happen in editing is when I forget to write down a cut I have to make, and I know there's a cut. And here's the thing, right? Like, if people find those cuts, it's not that bad, because people have found them before where like I forget to cut. And people just laugh, you know, because it's just me like coughing my guts out or something, or it's me like you know, pausing for a second because there's a garbage truck outside, and they'll hear me doing a little like like humming to myself a song or something. So it's not like it's bad, you know what I mean? Even like, and I remember before, like, you know, I forgot to cut something out and like I sniffled like a lot and I blew my nose, and someone was like, oh my god, that just makes you feel more human, honestly, you know. And it was like not a big deal, but like it's one of those situations where like you know, I still want to make the videos like good for you guys. So even if like you guys find those funny, and I'm okay with you guys finding those, it still can be sometimes stressful. Sometimes I've sat there for an hour just trying to find a cut that I cut there as well. But I've started writing them down even more. So I write down every single cut that I make now. So that'd be my like least favorite aspect of it. My favorite aspects of it, the recording aspect's so fun. Because when I'm talking, it's a situation where like, yeah, my voice gets tired, but I don't notice my voice getting tired onto the end of it. It's one of the situations where like that's why I don't like taking breaks in. It depends on the series, but like sometimes I will take a break because it does get like I will only like what happens is this is what happens. Okay, I'm recording a Genshin video. I'm 2 hours in and I'm like, oh, my voice is getting a little bit weary. What I might do is come back to this Genshin event or this quest tomorrow and then add it to the recording then. And you guys probably don't even notice if something is like a day in between, or maybe sometimes you do. But I feel like that's the best way to do things sometimes, because I'd rather do that than just like get tired when I'm playing a game. But yeah, the recording aspect's still fun. It's so fun. Even now, like, you know, I like, there's nothing more fun than starting a new game as well, by the way. I love that aspect. It's so fun. But in reality, I've said this, like, and it's not even just like what is my favorite part. It's like, to me, what I think is a necessity sometimes. Because sometimes people will very gently and nicely suggest to turn off comments sometimes for games because they don't want me to be spoiled and stuff. And I totally understand that people want to do that, but my counter to that, and I hope everyone understands when I say this, is like, if I get no comments on the video, you know what I mean? And no one commenting on what happened in the video, and no one giving their take or their opinion or disagreeing with me or agreeing with me, like, it generally feels like I'm not, like, even though there's people watching it, like, I love seeing those comments. And I want to make clear as well, if you're someone who doesn't comment, don't feel bad about it. Everyone has to do their own thing. Some people like to comment, some people don't. And no one should have to comment, ever. And if you're someone who doesn't comment, I still appreciate you. I still feel you, right? But it's one of those things where, like, I also like to, like, hear people's opinions and interact with people. I think it's totally fair. So I do love the comments as well. I think it's, like, one of those situations where there's nothing better than, you know, making a video and seeing, like, people interact with it, and then afterwards also, like, seeing someone say, like, man, this was so fun. And and here's the thing, like, I answer like a lot of those comments every day. I know it sounds like I'm being like, oh, I would answer a lot of those comments. I answer a lot of comments of people of being like, hey, I do appreciate, like, if someone's like, I appreciate this video, it got me through a hard time, or I appreciate this because, like, it really was a fun video, this was so funny, it was so enjoyable, I'm really loving the series. I respond to every comment I get that someone says I love the series, no matter what. And sometimes I might miss one, but it's okay, you know, that happens. But like, that's like one of my favorite things. When I find out that people have been enjoying something so much, it really does motivate me to keep going forward. And like, when I wake up in the morning, because I obviously upload the Let's Play at 11 o'clock, and I wake up in the morning, I look at all the comments, like, there's nothing that motivates me more than just seeing people like it. And it's not just like, again, like I said, it's not just the comments. I know you're enjoying it if you don't comment. I want to make that perfectly clear. You don't have to comment. But I do love the comments. There's like a thing there as well. So there's no one forced to comment. Do not worry about comment. Don't feel pressured. Do whatever you need to do. I want everyone to feel comfortable watching these videos. So if you're watching this right now going, do I have to comment? No. Enjoy your snack. If you're sitting on the toilet, whatever. If you have it in the background when you're driving, whatever, that's cool too. You don't need to, these videos are for your entertainment. I don't want anyone to ever feel uncomfortable watching them. But yeah, I would say the recording and the comments are and feeling that I've, like, made someone happy that day makes me really happy. Esmanako says, if you could pick any character from Star Rail and have a conversation with, no questions off limits, no specified duration, who would you pick and what would you ask? Interesting question. So someone I could talk to, and what would I ask them? I think, let's see. I think that I would pick Don Hong and say, do you like me? Do you think I'm pretty? No. Honestly though, like, I would like, I would pick Adventurine because I would want him just to say everything that's on his mind, and I would tell him that afterwards, I would say, just tell me how you're feeling, and I'd say afterwards, if I say anything, well, I'll sign a contract that if I say anything about what you said to me, you can have my life. You know what I mean? I would want, because I really would like to see him, like, venting. You know what I mean? That's, like, legitimately something I would like to see him venting, even more to somebody. In terms of other characters, I think that like I'd love to have like a burger and fries with Luca. I think that would be such an enjoyable experience to just sit on the side like of a pier or something like that, or like a river, and just have some food with Luca. I think that'd be so enjoyable. And in terms of like what I'd ask him, I just like have a chat with him. I just have like I think it'd be such an enjoyable chat to have with Luca. I'm trying to think of some other characters that I could ask stuff to. Easily I would ask Kafka, what does she think of Stella and her journey so far? I'd ask that question. Like, what do you think of her so far? What do you think's happening so far? And if she has to answer honestly, then it's one of those situations where like I would get like one of the most informative answers ever. Now she probably would find a way to get around it, but still I think it's one of those things where I would love to hear her answer regardless. But yeah, like I think it'd be those three would be a good answer as well. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I would ask Bronya how she's doing, because I know she's going through a lot right now. But of course, she understands that the people below are going through even more, that's what I love about her now, is because like she understands that things are happening that are pretty crazy. I'm trying to think of all the characters, like so many characters I would like to ask the question to. Let's see. I'm trying to think of one more character just so I can think of one more. Let's see who I'd ask. I'd ask Sparkle why. Just why. You know what? You know who I'd ask? You know who I'd ask the question to if they had to answer me as well? I would go to Blade. And if he had to answer the question, I'd say, what do you like most about your companions in the Stellar Hunters? What do you like about each of them? And the reason I would ask this is because I think Blade is a character who does care about the other Stellar Hunters a lot, and I just want to hear him talk more about all those other people. And I think that's very healthy for him to like just have a space where he can also just open up about like his family. So those would be the questions I would ask, and those are the people I would hang out with. I hope that's like a good answer to this question. But yeah, those are the people I definitely want to talk to for sure. On to the community video section of this. The first is from Malcolm. And the question asked, by the way, was what pretty much like I'd say, what have you been up to, and what's something? I believe the question was, what's a piece of art that you can't stop returning to? And then also asked just what have you up to? Malcolm says, I recently bought a 3D printer. Now do you think I'd put a considerable amount of thought into this, looking at brands and stuff and buying a good one? But no, I bought a crappy €30 toy 3D printer served to me by Temuad. And they gave me a €20 in cash back as part of a promotion. So really just €10 instead. So you got a €10 3D printer. Interesting. So the €10 3D printer good? Absolutely not. It's got a ton of issues, and when it prints stuff, the quality is atrocious compared to other 3D printers in the market. However, it does 3D print. And the €10, that ain't asking much. It's actually very cheap. And while I feel like chucking it out the window every couple of prints, it's been quite a learning experience. Probably a patience experience as well, I would guess too, like a learning how to be patient. I would learn how to 3D model things, and I've been able to fix things around my home, also printing things to help with storage and organizing my desk and room. Interesting. So before we go on to the next part of it, like, I always thought 3D printing was like, first time I saw 3D printing, I genuinely thought that like this was fake. I thought it was fake. Because I was like at the time I was really young, and I remember just being like, that's not real. Like, you can't just print something in 3D. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But yeah, like it was real. I remember saw it in a YouTube video. I was like, man, that'd be crazy if that was actually real. You know, I remember saying that. I probably like said it to like a friend to like school or something. I was like, yeah, I saw this thing. Like, imagine if 3D printers were like real. And my friend was probably like, you know, like that. But yeah, it's really interesting getting it for a tenner though. Because I feel like that's like a real, like, no matter what, it's one of those situations where like, if like, you know, if you buy like a €10 like clothing iron or something like that after you iron your clothes, I feel like, you know, after, if it breaks down after like a few months, you're going to be like, you know, it was €10, you know? And the other part of this was the game. As for a game I tend to return to, I've thought about this, and I have to say the original Halo trilogy. I've played it every time it's been released, from the original Xbox to remasters on my Steam Deck. Love the Steam Deck. I love how the straightforward early 2000s video game story of a stoic guy in armor kills aliens. Too bad it really fell off with the fourth game. I've heard about this, it did fall off. The franchise has essentially been dead to me since, but I still have fond memories of it and play the trilogy about once every 2 years. I love that aspect as well, like the idea that like, even though a gaming series can kind of like let you down, you still return to the other games. I feel like that was like a lot of us with like Silent Hill at one point, like just like, yeah, the newer games sometimes let us down, like the Homecoming let me down a bit. But I love Downpour, but like you can always return to the other games. I've never actually played Halo though, Malcolm. I'll be honest with you. Like, actually, you know what? That's a lie. I think that like a cousin probably had Halo at one point, and I probably played like one map of it, but I never really understood it that much because I was never really a first-person shooter guy. But I do know that Halo is like iconic. It is like one of the most iconic franchises ever, and it's one of those things that like I believe it's no longer exclusive though to. I think aren't Sony planning on putting it on Xbox or PlayStation, or Xbox start planning to put it on Sony or PlayStation. Which honestly is good for the industry. I like, it's good for the consumer. I think, more, consumers should have options to buy whatever they want. But yeah, all I know about Halo is that like the people who talk about Halo talk about it, and maybe you can confirm this as well, Malcolm. The people that talk about it always talk about it as if it was like, it's like you had to be there, man. It's like every time someone talks about Halo, it feels like they have a cigarette in their mouth in the dark in the corner going, you weren't there, man. You just weren't there. And like, I really like every time they talk, I do believe them. It's like one of those situations where it really feels like they are like, it was an experience that at the time when people were playing these games, it was one of the most like special feelings that people had. I would imagine like it's like kind of like, and like here's the thing, it's like people say, oh, compared to Call of Duty, but I also didn't play Call of Duty as a kid either. So the only thing I compare to maybe in my life was maybe playing wrestling games as a kid with friends and stuff like that too, where I'd be like in the corner going, yeah, SVR06, man, you had to be there, you had to be there. But I do like that there is like that iconic franchise for people like that. And yeah, in terms of your 3D printer, as I said, like it's one of those things where I thought it was fake, so it's really incredible like seeing that you're like using it to fix stuff around the house. So you're saying like maybe making like a stopper for the door or something for the chair that was like a little bit off edge or something like that too, which is actually a really great use for that as well. But like a 10-euro 3D printer, man, that's like, if you said that to anyone, they'd probably like think like, in the street, hey, do you want a 10-euro 3D printer? They're probably thinking, do not hurt me. Do not hurt me. But yeah, thanks for that, Malcolm. The next one is from Leon, who says, okay, gonna say Sonic and Transformers because that's what based my whole brand. Awesome. But I've been getting back into TTRPGs and DC Comics. We're currently running 5e campaigns in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Metal Gear Solid Fusion campaign. Really cool. It's really fun, especially with Steel Ball running coming back. Going back and just reading and watching JoJo is fun. 5e campaign is also a nice change of pace since I'm playing an Artificer as a class I've never delved into. So you're doing like some like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Metal Gear Solid Fusion campaign, which is crazy. It's no offense. I'm not hoping it doesn't sound like I'm offending you, like, or I'm trying to be mean. It just sounds bat crazy. It does. And you're also getting to Sonic and Transformers and certain stuff that you would always come back to in terms like that. Yeah, like I played 5e for years, but COVID actually, it's so crazy because COVID changed everything for like D&D for us, where do you ever have this thing where like, some people in the group's motivation is hanging on by a thread, and then when you're given a reason to kind of like not do D&D in the physical space anymore, remember when the thought came up about people being like, hey, do you want to do it through Discord or something, or Skype or whatever? And the first answer is, I'm kind of busy, and then you don't get an answer from one of them and stuff like this too, and then you kind of realize, oh, the thing that was kind of holding us together was the fact that like we were seeing each other face to face. And literally like it was like as of 2020 March, my last D&D campaign I was playing ended, and it never got picked up again. If you must know who my character was, Leon, I played a character who was like a divorced dad who carried around a box on his back everywhere. And I actually played like a and he was a character who complained about everything all the time, constantly, just like he was like basically like a, what they call him, like a Kevin. You know what I mean? He complained about that stuff all the time. And I think that like, when you're saying here you're fusing together like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Metal Gear Solid Fusion campaign, are you talking about in genre, I wonder? Or are you talking about legitimately like in like like you have JoJo aspects and Metal Gear Solid aspects? Because that to me like seems like you'll have like a lot of very political and like tactical espionage stuff, and then a lot of like, I believe, political stuff in JoJo as well, but some really crazy movesets and like off the wall like magical stuff too, which I think in Metal Gear there is stuff like that too, but I've never played Metal Gear before, so I don't really know about that fully. But I do like that you're doing it coinciding with the stuff that like with JoJo's as well, because I actually feel that way too. Whenever like a new Yu-Gi-Oh game comes out, I feel like I get back into Yu-Gi-Oh. Whenever like a new Yu-Gi-Oh show came out, I always get back into Yu-Gi-Oh as well. So I feel like it does like give you that energy, right? It's like the same way of like, say like, Silent Hill F released, and I played Silent Hill F. My first instinct after finishing I played it 3 times, and my first instinct after that was like, I gotta go play like Silent Hill 3 again, you know? You get that energy like that comes around you as well. And like I feel like you're doing a really good thing here, by the way, of not wasting energy, especially when it comes to like Sonic and Transformers, because you were telling me before, I believe, that you like, you know, have bursts of energy when it comes to Sonic and Transformers, and I think that's awesome. And I would feel that's like the best way to go about it. If you have that energy, go for it. Really, really awesome stuff. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about this actually, because it definitely seems like a really interesting way of doing things that I never even thought could happen. But I guess it could happen. You could do anything with D&D, right? Really interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff, honestly. Trashbin says, I've been playing Repo and Valorant with friends recently, and with the games I keep coming back to, sometimes I get into a 2-week Stardew Valley mood and play heaps of it within that time and then stop. That's so, I feel like it's a very relatable thing. First of all, saying Repo and Valorant with friends, I heard that they're really fun to play with people as well. I don't play many online games. When I did play online games, I would play like Fortnite. And I played Fortnite because COVID, right? COVID was a thing where like you wanted to keep the interaction going. So like basically like me and my other friends that weren't my D&D friends, we played Fortnite, and it was one of those things where like Fortnite's actually a really well designed game. Let's just be honest here. It is a really well designed game in a lot of ways. But the reason we played it was because, not because we were like, oh, I want to play Fortnite, yeah. It was more just a case of like, this is something where we can all chat with each other and we can all do, and even if we lose, it's not a big deal, and we can all just have like a lot of fun with this stuff too. It was perfect for that. And then we played Dark Souls together as well, and went through the campaign of Dark Souls, and like I kind of like walked them through that as well, which was really fun. But yeah, like those type of games you get to play with friends, always addictive. Because I find as well, like, and maybe you feel the same, Trash, but when you're playing online games with friends, there is a feeling of like time passing by like so quickly, like to the point that it doesn't even feel like time has passed, you know? And I feel like that's definitely like something that is an appeal of playing with friends, because you feel like, whoa, like I went through a time warp and now I'm here on the other side. It's 3 a.m. Whereas if I'm playing games by myself, like if I'm really engrossed in the game, I can do that. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's 12 p.m. I should probably, or 12 a.m. I should probably like calm down a bit. And yeah, in terms of getting to a Stardew Valley mood, I want to get back into Stardew Valley quite a bit. And I think this is such a relatable thing to say, because I feel like getting into a game for like 2 weeks and then stopping is such like a, it's not, I think it's healthy, but also at the same time too, it's also really fun. There'll be periods of times where like I'll get into like a wrestling game for like a week or so, and then I'll go back to just playing other games. And I feel like it's sometimes all you need. Sometimes you need to get back into that world. Stardew Valley, I'm very terrified to get back into, I'll just be honest though, because I've been away for so long. I feel like I'm going to forget everything. But yeah, really interesting answers as well. I find, as I said, playing with friends is really fun, and also getting into a mood for a game is also really cool too. Victoria says, still working on my book. It is a fantasy I have built around the world from scratch, so it's several years in the making, but aside last week, I wanted a calendar and a zodiac for the world, even if it's not relevant to the plot. So you want to do world building that will make you feel like you're more engrossed in the world, I guess. So I spent all week creating it, both. Maybe it's just time wasting rather than actually writing, but I actually enjoy doing it. Here's the thing, like, before we go into the next part of this, yeah, it could be seen as time wasting to some people and even to yourself. But the reason I'm going to try to make you feel better about this, Victoria, you know your world better now, even if it's like something small. And you got engrossed in your world a little bit more, and now the world will feel more alive, and there's like a realistic feeling to the world. Right? That's there now. But I feel like it's one of those things as well that like the reason I don't think it's like a waste of time also is that I would say, like, I'm not giving advice here, brother. I'm not being like, Victoria, sit down, let's have a bit of a talk. I think that, like, one of the things that I learned as well a lot of times when people are like, you know, oh, I wasted my time playing this video game for 2 hours. And it's like, it's not a waste of time to have fun. Or like, I wasted time, you know, when I could have been working on this. It's like, yeah, don't see it like that. Yeah, you should have been working on something else if you have something to do. But like, don't see like going to like food with your friends and being like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that as a waste of time. Don't see like, you know, playing games as a waste of time. Now, there is a thing called doom scrolling that I think can be a waste of time, but the way you get over that, and I honestly do it myself, and it's like a psychological thing, is instead of like doom scrolling, I go, I'm going to sit down for a bit and put on a YouTube video and just look through like K-pop stuff for a bit and scroll through like K-pop Twitter. And like, there's a difference between that, I feel like, psychologically, and doing it randomly and then just like losing an hour. If you choose to do it, it's like, you know, designated like relaxation. If you don't choose to do it, it can sometimes see like you're out of it was a waste of time. But please don't see it as a waste of time. You did something really cool for your world and you had fun doing it. That's the main thing, always. And the last thing you said as well, as for things I return to, I come back for Skyrim often, The Long Dark, but when I have stretches where I don't play them, I usually start fresh again when I pick it back up. I also have have watched Dairy Girls a handful of times. It's usually what I put on if I can't find anything new to watch. Orla and Sister Michael are my two favorite characters. Derry Girls. I never heard of Ireland. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what Ireland is. No, I have seen Derry Girls as well. Derry Girls is very fun, and I think one of the things that like is so interesting about Derry Girls, and you've seen this too probably in the way the world is built, is that a lot of people like will watch it and be like, "This is so fun. This is so great, and it's so funny," but then there's subtle hints about like how dangerous it was for those teenagers to live in that time and how horrible of a period of time it was for Ireland during like that civil war going on, and the fight between Protestants and Catholics in the north and the south. It was a very, very dark time that actually only ended like in the past 20 years. No, 20. It was 31 years. It's 31 years ago. 31. It was 31 years ago when the treaty with the peace was brought into Ireland. It was 31 years ago, which isn't that far long ago if you think about it. Only 31 years. Or 30 years. Is it 30 years? 31 years, 30 years, around there. So it is like a show that has so many deep things about it, but also, like, as you said, it's very enjoyable and you can like turn it on in the background and like these characters talk so like their voices are so nice and they're such nice characters. It really is a great thing in that respect for sure. In terms of playing Skyrim, I think Skyrim is one of the most replayable games in terms of just like vibes. And you said restarting the game over and over again. I feel that way too. I feel like if I ever like wanted to restart Skyrim, which I haven't done in years and years, I feel like it's one of those games that you could play through like just the first like 5 hours and get like a feel of the energy, the music and all this stuff that's so amazing, and then like not come back to it for months and do it all over again. And I feel like Skyrim is a perfect game for like people that like just love to have like a lot in their game, but also like have that magical feeling, because it's not just the gameplay. I would go back to Skyrim, it's the magical feeling, because I remember like the first time I played Skyrim back in 2011, the music, the world, all this stuff like made me nearly cry just because of how beautiful it sounded. And like when I hear that music now, like it washes over me, and I'm sure you feel this every story where it's like, oh my god, bring you back into this world. Yeah. And I haven't played The Long Dark, but I know you also talk about it like at length too. But yeah, I think all this stuff is like really, really cool, and as I said, don't see it as wasting time. If you had fun, it's not a waste of time, and your picks for games are also really cool too. Thank you guys for watching this, and thank you guys for supporting me, and thank you guys for asking questions. If you want to ask questions, you can check the join button down below, and also you can check the Patreon and you can ask questions there too, or answer questions. Thank you so much to Tyfire2, Jamie Bull, Janet the Banana, The Ghosty Kazuma, Felicious Felix, Fueled, Radish and Usta, Lynx Markey, Assassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Chelson, Leon, Hikesperian, Jared Beanham, at the highest tier of my YouTube, Lord Gibbon 7, Blasco, and Lucinagi. See you so soon. Bye bye.